Well, hello everybody. Here's what you missed last class. You should have in front of you a worksheet that says Day 12, Class, and you should have another worksheet called Day 12, Extra in Class. I divided this lesson into two different days because last year we struggled on it a little bit. So that's why I kind of added in a little bit extra just to make sure that we understand. So what you'll have due next time, of course, is the assignment. And then you'll also have that Day 12 extra in class due. Now, on here I did the odds for you, so that'll help you out. But also pause the video when I ask you to pause, and then try those problems real fast. So here goes. You should have in front of you, if you still have last time's assignment, there's the answers. Remember, guys, I'm also posted my answers in the Google Cloud in the sky, so you can also compare those, but you can also compare them from here. But here's where I need to go with you first. I need to show you what's meant by the square root property. We started this last class. If you think about number 1, I've got x squared equal 25. It's saying something times something equal 25. Whenever it's written like this, this means that there should be two answers in there. Here's how we attack this. I'm going to square root both sides. But when I do that, I'm going to write it as this. X is equal to, I need to add in positive or negative square root of 25. We add in that positive negative whenever you're taking the square root of both sides. Well, the square root of 25 is 5, so here's my answers. I'm going to put them back in our braces. It's going to be positive or negative 5. Just for a trip down memory lane, guys, if this was the square root of negative 25, then my answer would be 5i. So on some of these I have a negative in there, on some of them I don't, so don't panic on it. Here's your number 2. I'm going to square root both sides, so I've got x equal positive or negative square root of 100, but we know the square root of 100 is 10, so here's my answer, positive or negative 10. And that's all there is to it. The only rule is you got to get your squared by itself first. So on this number 3, 5x squared equal 45, I'm going to divide both sides by 5 first. So I'm going to have x squared is equal to 9. Now when I square root both sides, I have positive or negative square root of 9, which is positive or negative 3. So there are some easy ones right there. Now on number 4, this is like what we did on day 1. I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did on 1, 2, and 3. But when I do this, this becomes x is positive or negative square root of 50. Now we have to break that down like we did on the first day. I'm going to think of 50 as the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. So I'm going to have x to be positive or negative. Square root of 25 is 5 radical 2. So just like we did last time, guys. So let me put that in those braces right there, and there we go. X squared equal 32. I'm going to square root both sides. So I have x equal positive or negative square root of 32. I'm going to think of this as 16 and 2, not 4 and 8, because 8 breaks down. So here's my answer. Positive or negative 4 times the square root of 2. If you look at number 6, I'm going to square root both sides again, so I got x equal positive or negative square root of 75. You're going to think of this as the square root of 25 times the square root of 3. So my answer, positive or negative 5 square root of 3. So I just teased the first part. What I'd like for you to do right now is pause the video, if you would, pause the video, and then do numbers 1 through 9 on your worksheet. I've already done 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 for you, so you can make sure that you're right. So pause it. As soon as you get that done, guys, go ahead and hit play again, and then I'll take you to the next piece, which you'll come back to day 12 class on those. So we're jumping back and forth between a couple of worksheets. So try that, hit pause, and welcome back. Hopefully you understood 1 through 9. Now, I'm going to kind of take you for a trip down memory lane real fast. I need to review with you what's called the perfect trinomial. We did these right before Christmas. Here's where they came from. If you look at, this is not on your notes, if you look at x minus 7 quantity squared, if I FOIL that out, I need to write it out again. And then when I FOIL this, I get x squared minus 7x minus another 7x, negative 7 times 7, plus 49, which gives me x squared minus 14x plus 49. Remember, guys, we called these a perfect trinomial because this square root, which is 1x, this square root, which is 7, 1x times 7 doubled is that, so I know it factors into a perfect trinomial. Well, I got you a little confused. Look right over here now. We did these right before Christmas, and you were pretty good at them at that time. I'm going to factor 2x squared minus 20x plus 25. Well, the square root of 4x squared is 2x. The square root of 25 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Doubled is 20. So this is a perfect trinomial. It means it factors into this. The square root of 4x squared is 2x. Here's a minus sign. Square root of 25 is 5. Quantity squared. Look at the one right below it. X squared plus 8x plus 16. The square root of 1x squared is x. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 times x is 4x. Times 2 is 8x. So yes, this is a perfect trinomial. So I can write it as x plus 4 quantity squared. I reviewed that with you because what I'm trying to get you to is a method of solving an equation called a perfect trinomial. So find your sheet that says Day 12 class, Day 12 class, so that your number 7 and my number 7 match. Now hang with me on this. I'm going to show you how to solve this via what we call the square root method. Look at this x squared minus 8x plus 16. Ignore this 25 for a second. Just flat out ignore it. I'm going to see if this is a perfect trinomial. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 times x doubled is 8x. So yes, it's a perfect trinomial. So check out what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this as x minus 4 quantity squared. Equal, let me erase what I hid a while ago, 25. Now I'm going to apply the square root property just like we did a second ago. I'm going to square root the left-hand side, which gets rid of this squared. So I've got x minus 4 equal positive or negative square root of 25. Let me square root the 25. So I've got x minus 4 equal positive or negative square root of 25 is 5. Now we want to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So I got positive negative 5 plus 4. Now there's two answers hiding right here. We just need to go get those two answers. And that's easy to do. Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right back to my parentheses here. I've got a positive 5 right there. A positive 5 plus 4, that answer is 9. I've also got a negative 5 plus 4. And that answer is going to be negative 1. So there's my two answers to this equation. Now on to number 8. On the left-hand side, that's a perfect trinomial again, because the square root of 4x squared is 2x. The square root of 25 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Doubled is 20. So we're going to write this as 2x minus 5 quantity squared equal 16. Notice that we're just ignoring that for a little bit. Now we're going to square root both sides. So this becomes 2x minus 5 equal positive or negative 4. Now think what you'd have to do to get x by itself. I would need to add 5 to both sides. Then I'd have to divide by 2. Well, I'm going to write that down. X is going to be, I'm going to have positive or negative 4. This is a minus 5 right here, so that's going to be plus 5 divided by 2. Now remember, there's two answers hiding here, so we need to go get them, so don't even touch your calculator. I'm going to go positive 4 plus 5. Positive 4 plus 5 is 9, so I've got 9 over 2. And then I've got negative 4 plus 5, which is 1 over 2. So there's my two answers. We want to leave your answers as fractions. They're just going to be cleaner for us. Number 9, I'm going to pick the pace up just a little bit. This side is a perfect trinomial. This square root is 3x. This square root is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Doubled is 24. So this left-hand side becomes 3x. Here's a plus sign. 4 quantity squared equal 25. We're going to square root both sides. So the left-hand side becomes 3x plus 4. The right-hand side becomes positive or negative 5. Now think about your next two steps. I see a plus 4, so I'm going to have to minus 4. So I'm going to have positive or negative 5 minus 4. Then I'm going to divide by 3. Like I said, don't even touch your calculator. Let's go positive 5 minus 4. That's going to be 1 over 3. Negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9 over 3, which is going to be negative 3. So there's my two answers. I'm going to do number 10 and number 12 because those are nice square roots. And then I'm going to show you a couple where it's not such a nice square root. So here's my number 10. Once again, perfect trinomial right there. So I'm going to write this as x plus 10 quantity squared equals 64. Square root both sides. So I've got x plus 10 equal positive or negative. Square root of 64 is 8. To get x by itself, I'm going to have positive or negative 8 minus 10. Since it was plus 10 over here, it's minus 10 over here. And then now let's go get our two answers. I'm going to have positive 8 minus 10, negative 2. Negative 8 minus 10, negative 18. I'm going to skip number 11. I'm going to hit number 12 with you. And then I'm going to move on to the back side a little bit there, just to show you what happens if the number's not a perfect square. So here's our number 12. This is a perfect trinomial. So I'm going to think of this as 5x plus 4. It's a plus because that's a plus. Quantity squared equal 81. Let's square root both sides. 5x plus 4 equal positive or negative? Well, the square root of 81 is 9. To get x by itself, I'm going to have positive or negative 9 minus 4 all over 5. Let's go get our two answers. Positive 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Negative 9 minus 4, negative 13. Negative 13 divided by 5, let's just call that negative 13 over 5. If the number on the right-hand side is a perfect square, you're going to have nice numbers. Notice square root of 64, square root of 25. Look over at number 13, 14, and 15 then. Notice this number right here, guys. They're not perfect squares. Well, 13 and 14 aren't. They're not perfect squares. So we're just going to reduce them as we go. So the steps are the same. Think of x squared plus 12x plus 36. Think of that as x plus 6 quantity squared equal 18. Square root both sides. So I've got x plus 6 equal positive or negative square root of 18. I need to reduce square root of 18. So I'm going to think of that as the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. So now I have this. X plus 6 equal positive or negative 3 times the square root of 2. Now the steps are the same, just the numbers don't simplify. To get x by itself, I'm going to subtract 6. So I'm going to have positive or negative 3 radical 2 minus 6. So those are my answers. You can't simplify those. I got positive or negative 3 radical 2 minus 6. Don't run them through your calculator, just leave them as that. Here's number 14. X squared plus 8x plus 16. Perfect trinomial. I'm going to factor that into x plus 4 squared equal 12. Square root both sides. So I've got x plus 4 equal positive or negative square root of 12. Well, I need to reduce the square root of 12. I'm going to think of that as the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. So here's what I have for a second. X plus 4 equal positive or negative. Square root of 4 is 2 radical 3. Now let's get x by itself. X is going to be positive or negative 2 radical 3 minus 4. So let me put that in my braces. And there's what we got. Now what I had the class do, I'm not going to worry about number 15. What I had the class do, guys, is I had them on that other sheet of paper do numbers 10 through 15. Well, I already did the odds for you. I got about another 4 minutes of the video left after this. So if you'd like, or if you would, pause this video and do number 10, 12, and 14. I've already done 11, 13, and 15 for you. You might work those also to make sure you understand completely how to get my numbers. So I'll give you a second just to pause the video. Then I've got one more little thing to show you, but we've already got the hard part out of the way. And welcome back. If you would now, look back on your sheet that says Day 12 class. I know we're jumping back and forth here a little bit. Look at 16 through 21. Here's what we'd like to do. I would like to figure out a C value. I would like to figure out what number I would have to put in place of C so that I would have a perfect trinomial. Meaning the square root of x squared, which is x, the square root of whatever we come up with doubled is 10. In class we did a little trial and error with this. I'm just going to show you the shortcut. If you look at number 16, my A value is 1. That's the number in front of the squared. My b value is negative 10. Here's what you do. Your first step, take half of b. So half of negative 10 is negative 5. Now square that number. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. So check out what we just did. Now let's see if it's a perfect trinomial. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 25 is 5. X times 5 doubled is 10. So I know this thing will factor into x minus 5 quantity squared. Here's my number 17. We're going to figure out what c is. So find your b value, which is 60. Take half of it. 60 divided by 2 is 30. Now let's square 30. And I'm going to get a big number, 900. So I now know x squared plus 60x plus 900 makes a perfect trinomial. And it becomes x plus 30 squared. Notice it's that number right there. Here's number 18, x squared minus 3x plus c. Once again, take half of the middle term. Don't panic that it's not nice. I'm going to think of this as negative 3 over 2. Now square that number. Negative 3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. It's a fraction, big deal. So I've got x squared minus 3x plus 9 fourths. To write it as a perfect trinomial, x minus square root of 9 is 3, square root of 4 is 2. We'll fly through the last 3 on there, but otherwise that's going to be the lesson, guys. Number 19, I'm going to take half of 18 and get 9. I'm going to square 9 and get 81. So here goes. I've got x squared plus 18x plus 81, which becomes a perfect trinomial of x squared plus 9 quantity squared. Next, the last one. Take half of 9. Don't panic that it's not nice. Just think of it as 9 over 2. Now square that number. 9 squared is 81. 2 squared is 4. This becomes x squared plus 9x plus 81 fourths. To write it as a trinomial, x plus 9 halves squared. And then one more odd one, and then that's going to finish this up. Half of negative 7 is negative 7 over 2. If we square that, we're going to get 49 fourths. So this becomes x squared minus 7x, always plus 49 fourths, factors into x minus 7 halves squared. So guys, there's the lesson. Here's what you have to do coming up. On your assignment, you'll like this. Just do the front side so far. So just do the front side on the assignment and then finish up the extra class. We didn't take a homework quiz that day, so you're good there. Good luck. Come in during seminar before or after school if you need some help.